Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 358. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host here, Mike. How we doing, Mike?
Good. We got a special guest this episode, J.L. Collins. Going to talk about his book Thistle, which I thoroughly enjoyed, Chris.
As did I.
Always a huge fantasy fan, so especially when it's a little bit of D&D mixed with a little bit of Lord of the Rings, can't beat that. So looking forward to talking about that later in the episode.
Yeah. So, Mike, it's been a long week.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
we're unleashing the beast.
That's not a seltzer, everybody. That's an adult beverage.
We're unleashing the beast today.
Hell yeah, the alcoholic monsters. I'm actually drinking some Earl Grey tea right now, so I'm offsetting that because I'm pretty tired. I had too many weed seltzers last night. Was the problem?
Oh yeah,
those are my go-tos because I could drink like one of those and I'm done. So, and I don't have a terrible hangover the next day. I'm just a little bit tired.
So hopefully my boss doesn't listen to this. If he does, I guess I don't have a job tomorrow.
Oh well.
But so yeah, I have to get drug tested regularly.
Right.
But we've actually mapped out exactly when they do it. So I'm just waiting for the next one.
You just got a big like green leaf around the spot on the calendar. This is the day.
Well, because I have this little country store that literally minutes from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Been there since I was a kid, and the guy, it's actually kind of cool. A guy that worked there. So my brother worked. That was his first job, was working there. A guy that worked there with my brother, so around the same age, ended up buying the place.
Okay.
So I've known the guy forever. Well,
that's cool.
Long story short, he kept most of the things the same, but one of the things he changed was he added like all these local beers and everything, and really making like a craft beer kind of area. And then one day I go in, he's just got weed seltzers, and I'm like, huh.
Yep.
Well, one day I'll try. When I text you, Mike, and I'm just like, I don't know what dimension I'm in anymore.
That's what I know.
You'll know I tried it.
Yeah, I do enjoy them. They're 5 milligrams in front of you stoners out there. You probably know how much that is, but it's enough to like. No, it's not. I mean, if it's your first time, it could be a lot, but it kind of hits you as like you're winding down, and then you get tired usually, and then you don't have a hangover, which is the best part. That's why I mean, drinking is what it is, but
I always found I didn't really enjoy smoking.
Mm-hmm.
But I did love getting a good like edible.
Yeah, and now that it's like, I mean, it's legal here. I can have it delivered to my house here in Schenectady, which is kind of strange, but
yeah,
it's like, wow, the drug dealers deliver to you now. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, you used to have to go over and like pretend to be friends with them.
Yeah, and like make small talk, like, oh, how's the weather? Okay, can I buy some weed? But anyways, here we are.
Let me veer the conversation in a complete 180, Mike.
Okay, can you do it?
I don't know if you picked up this month's version of Time magazine.
No, I did not, but that's Bulbasaur on the front. Did they do different Pokemon?
There's 4 covers. There's Bulbasaur.
I knew it.
It's the 3 starters. So Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, and then of course Pikachu.
Yeah.
But Mike, I didn't know this. I saw it and I was just like, oh, Bulbasaur. Yeah. I'll buy that because I'll put it on the wall next to all my Bulbasaur stuff.
Yeah.
Can you guess how much this Time magazine costs in the year of our Lord 2024?
To be honest, I don't know. I see the magazine section at Barnes & Noble. I don't go there. I would say, okay, hold on. $6, $6 to $8.
Double.
No
$15.
$15. People are paying that for a magazine?
So I just grabbed it and was like, and I bought a few other things and threw it on the down. I saw it get scanned as it's going by because it's at a grocery store. And I'm just like, what, $15 for a magazine?
Is it because it's special edition or they're always $15?
I don't know, but now next month I will be going to look to see if a Time magazine always costs that, because
that's crazy, man. That's wild.
Yeah.
And magazines are always like, oh, I'd read it and throw it out, unless you did collect like all those National Geographics like some people did. But
Well, a very interesting research topic sometime, excuse me, if you're ever interested, is to look into what the magazine industry is today.
Mm-hmm.
And it's these specialized magazines. Like there's no longer, nobody is subscribed to Time Magazine anymore to get their news. Why would they?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
They have to come out with these specialized ones. So that's why when you go to the store, you see all the magazines are like the Star Wars magazine or the Beginner's Guide to Manga or whatever it is.
And people are like, oh shit, I need that.
And that's how they survive, is by like this, somebody just walking up and be like, ooh, Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur mine. Yeah. Or some child in a cart is like, Pikachu. And then they get it in the cart and the parents like, $15. What the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah, you little bastard. All right.
That bad boy's getting framed, put next to all my Bulbasaur toys.
Yeah, so. I mean, you got to do it. You got to spend the money for the Bulbasaur. That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome they did Bulbasaur. That's not awesome they charged $15 for. It's crazy you could buy like 2 volumes of manga for that price almost.
Well, I was just talking to my father because my nephew has gotten really into manga.
Yeah.
And like he's shown interest in comics, so we're gonna nurture that.
All right. Okay. But don't push it too much.
No,
scare him away.
I'm having him at the house next week to come hang out, and one of the things he said was like, "I want to look through your comic collection." I was like, "Oh yeah, nice. Yes, that's awesome. Do."
That is awesome. That's what you want.
But anyways, so his birthday's coming up, and he's really into One Piece. And my father was just like, "Yeah, I wanted to buy him some of those Japanese comic books he's reading," as Japanese, my father puts it. And I was going.
He's not wrong.
No, that's what they are.
Yeah.
But I was going through how to buy them and everything because he was like, "Yeah, I heard it's like $1,000 to get the whole story and everything." I was like, "Yeah, but like you're talking about hundreds of volumes of comics."
Yeah, he's not going to read all of those in a sitting.
No. So, long story short, I was like, buy these 3-in-1s, and I'm going to buy a few too. So we're like going in together on this.
Yeah.
Buy these 3-in-1s. It's 3 volumes, and it's like anywhere from $12 to $15, as opposed to buying 1 volume for $10.
Right.
So yes, you can buy 3 volumes of manga for what I just paid for that stupid fucking magazine.
Yeah, that's crazy. Stupid, but I'm gonna frame it.
I'll frame the fuck out of it.
But it's stupid. Oh man. All right. Let's jump into it. We got some stuff to talk about.
Yes,
I will talk about The Last Airbender. I'm about 3 or 4 episodes in. I'm really enjoying it. I've actually watched the first and second episode a couple times just to watch it with some other people. I think right now it's sitting at a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, I think, for a TV show, especially a cartoon adaptation, that's fairly good, I would say. 75% is fairly good. My main takeaways, the casting is like spot on for the cartoon characters. And to me, so like the cartoon, they're like 20-minute episodes. So these are about 45 minutes to an hour live action. And it almost seems like they're doing 2 to 3 episodes per single live action episode. I almost wonder if we're going to get through the whole first season with this first season, like the first book, the water chapter, or the first volume there. Yeah, really good. The CGI is great. And if I had to describe it, Chris, so like the cool part about it is like each kingdom. So like we get to the Earth Kingdom, and they're more like they're all different like divisions of Asia, almost, of like, okay, the Fire Nation's probably more like Eastern Asian. The Earth Nation seems to be more like like India. And then like you have like the Air Temple is probably more like Thailand and stuff like that. So, but they all have different divisions of how they fight. Like the airbenders do like Tai Chi, the firebenders do like straight kung fu. It's really cool stuff. And the water tribes are more like I would say more like the nomadic tribes of like Alaska, things like that, like those native people. So it's really cool the way, and they had some actors talking about it, like Asian American and Pacific Islander actors, and they said this was like a huge moment for them because this is probably the most they've had casted for like a single project. And it's amazing. Like the actors are, it's crazy how they found so many like people that are spitting images of like the cartoon. So it's fun. There's highs and lows as far as like depressing moments, happy moments, and yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not the biggest Avatar fan, but for me, as someone who loves kung fu cinema, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, that's the style of fighting you're seeing with using the elements and things. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things, so I want to get into it, but busy week, so I didn't
get
to check it out.
And they released the whole season at once, which Netflix hasn't really been doing so often, so that's kind of nice. It's like they pick and choose which projects to do that with, I feel like.
I think the standard is still to do it all at once, but they're playing around with the weekly.
Yeah.
I think they're having trouble keeping people in between seasons, and now like between HBO and Amazon and even in Disney, they've kind of proven that it's better to do it weekly because you can rile people in for a longer haul. And for me personally, I prefer it. I mean, selfishly, because then we get to talk about an episode every week as opposed to a whole season at once.
Yeah, for me, I want to see it all right on.
Yeah,
but I mean, I very rarely get to sit down and watch 8 episodes in a row anymore, so
yeah,
that doesn't happen much. But no, I'm really enjoying it, and I know there's some like people saying, "Oh, the CGI is bad," blah blah blah. Listen, if you're an Avatar fan, if you're a Kung Fu fan, if you, I would just watch it and enjoy it. You know, there's always going to be people that are, and if you don't believe me, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a pretty good score, so I would agree with like an 8 out of 10. So there's 75%. I mean a lot. And the interesting thing, they pulled a lot of the filler out of the episodes, so there's always like these little conflicts happening in between the episodes and the cartoon. They kind of do away with that, which I didn't really care for when I was watching the cartoon, which I like that they do that. And Chris, if you're an Avatar fan, you'll get this, but the cabbage,
I'm not.
The cabbage salesman shows up, and they do like a fan service for that. So when they go to the Earth Kingdom, there's a guy. So if there's a running joke, there's this cabbage salesman that like has a cart, and they start in the Earth Kingdom. They like knock over his cabbages, and he's like, "My cabbages!" Like through the whole series. So like as they go to different cities, he like moves because they like fuck up his cart of cabbages every city. So like every city they go to, they run into this guy and destroy his cabbages, and he just gets so mad every time. And it's even better because when they do the next series, which is like 40 or 50 years after the original series, when they do the
is that the Korra one?
Yeah, the Korra show. There's a whole like conglomerate of like cabbage sales distributors. He like finally made it big. That's like the joke. But the episode where they reveal him, they show him a couple times, like they fuck with his cabbage cart, and he's like, you're gonna, you know, destroy my. And then like we see him a third time because they like set his cabbage cart on fire, and he like they zoom in on his face, and he's like screaming, "My cabbages!" And like, you know, they did it for the fans because you're like pointing him out in every scene. You're like, is he gonna show up? Is he gonna show up? So they do a lot of fun stuff like that if you're a fan of the cartoon, which is awesome. So
cool. I look forward to checking it out.
Yeah. Anyways, I know you watch Delicious in Dungeons, so you can talk about that because I still gotta watch that.
Yeah, so we get a flashback to the elves kind of when she was in magic school, basically.
Okay.
And how she fell in love with the idea of like going through dungeons and how she got connected with the group. So it's kind of her origin story.
Okay.
And that's when she first kind of discovers that there's food in the dungeon because she eats raspberries. And then we go back to the present where she gets in this big fight with this like this magical being that shoots water at her, but shoots it so fast that it's like a bullet. And I'm zoning on what that being was called, but they end up running away from it and finding a place to hang out. Why is GameStop calling me right now?
I don't know.
And she's all like beaten up. She's been shot a few times, and
by the water bullets.
Yeah, by the water bullets. And they're able to like get the bloods to stop, the clot and everything, and like get her so she could rest and all that. And of course, it wouldn't be delicious in dungeon without like a big recipe. So their big idea to like help her heal is to barbecue, and they make Kelpie Yaniku, I think it was called, and it's basically just like, if you've ever seen a barbecue where they take a big dish and they put the veggies in the middle and then put a bunch of different meats around it. It was that. So it was like tenderloins from this animal and like tail from this animal and so on and so forth.
Oh, like Korean barbecue style almost.
Yeah. Almost, yeah.
That's cool.
And that's the big food. And then kind of the cliffhanger is that another group is coming down, because where they stayed was in this big tower. And another group is coming down the winding stairs, and they can smell barbecue. And so they're like, who would barbecue in the dungeon? Goes the credits.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a fun episode. The origin story was a bit more serious in nature. So it did kind of take away from the overall feeling of it, but I did like how she gets connected to the group through the main fighter's sister, who they're all trying to save right now. So it gives her that like big connection to the sister and why she's so keen on saving her.
Okay, that's cool.
And also deals a little bit with how all the different party members treat her a little bit differently because she is the only woman in the group. So it does deal with some of those dynamics as well.
Interesting.
That's cool. a lot of cool stuff going on in this episode. So a little bit more serious, but it's still a really good episode.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. We had some news hitting this week because I think they sat down to the first table read for Superman Legacy. So I've seen a lot of Instagram photos and stuff from the actors. But yeah, James Gunn confirmed that Superman Legacy has begun filming. I think he said that they've done some test shots, so maybe we'll see a costume reveal. I'm kind of interested if they're going to confirm that like the actors posted like their nameplates for doing the table read, and the symbol. I think we talked about it before. The symbol is kind of like a Kingdom Come style S, not necessarily meaning they're going to do a Kingdom Come story, but I do think like a different S would be kind of cool to like show that, okay, this is like, the start of a new Superman. I think it'd be cool if they did like a twist on it. But I am interested to see where they go with the suit. And then we got, but you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think with the suit, you stay classic, but the symbol is where you make your mark,
right?
And that's what Batman's always done right. Is while the suits do kind of shift throughout the different movies, like we go from Keaton's rubber not being able to move his neck Batman to Pattinson's very tactical style. The suit itself is still that iconic Batman throughout it. It's the symbol that really shines. So.
So if they change the symbol up, I wouldn't be too upset with it. I think that'd be kind of cool.
It's fine to change Superman's symbol, in my opinion. Like there is that classic S that they've used in the cartoon and obviously in the comics throughout the years, but they've even shifted it in the comics in different variations. And I do think there's a way to do it that, like, I mean, Henry Cavill's, for instance, Henry Cavill's S is different from the comics, but still has enough classic Superman in it while still being kind of modern.
Could tell it was an S. So we'll see. I'm excited for it. James Gunn is very open with what he's doing, so hopefully we get to see at least a tease or a picture of it would be cool.
Yeah, we got the cast selfie that they put out.
Yeah, so that was cool.
And if anyone doesn't know, we're recording this on Sunday. It comes out on Wednesday. So while we're talking, they're going to be filming tomorrow. So I wouldn't be shocked by the end of the week if we get, even if it's just leaks, people like sneaking on the... because it happens with Marvel all the time.
I mean, dude, people were posting pictures on the there's a leak subreddit for DC, and I mean, people were like snapping pictures of the Lex Luthor actor walking through the airport. They're like, he has no hair. I'm like, people are crazy about this. I mean, I love it. I eat that shit up, but I'm like, you got people like, look, he has no hair. He's got a shaved head.
Well, after Snyder's, I mean, that is kind of a big deal. Like, why would you put a Luthor on screen with hair? I'm sorry.
And then we had the Deadline report that DC Films has cast Sean Gunn as its new Maxwell Lord. Good for Sean Gunn. We really, I mean, I liked him in Guardians of the Galaxy, but I haven't seen him do like a a really I always pictured Maxwell Lord as like this clean cut, you know, super like, well, we already had him, right? Pedro Pascal played him.
Yeah.
So that's how I've always pictured him. Depending on where they're going with this casting, like how they're going to treat the character, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I thought Pedro Pascal was perfect casting. It was just a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and Sean Gunn seems like his look, even like James Gunn at that.
Yeah,
like they have more of an everyman look. Like they look like the type of dude I would see at the bar, and strike a conversation with, not a Hollywood actor. So it is,
or a billionaire, Maxwell Lord.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they pull it off, but
unless they treat Maxwell Lord as like a come in once in a while character, you know,
I wonder if he's going to be. He'll probably be the step that leads to the Thanos, if that makes sense. Like he will be the Loki that leads to. So Loki was the character that brought the Avengers together.
Yeah.
That led to Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's his role. Like, he will pop up a few times, and then he won't be the thing that brings the Justice League together, but, like, he'll pop up and then be a part of some movie.
If anything, I mean, if they keep the continuity, like, he creates the OMAX, and then the OMAX will, like, take over civilians, and that's the whole thing, is, like, they can't fight the OMAX because there's civilians inside them and stuff like that, so
maybe it could be what brings the Justice League together. So, yeah that could be it too, but yeah, I think he'll pop up a few times and then be a big bad somewhere, whether it's a Justice League movie or something else. Yeah, it'll be interesting to just see how they do it.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're just getting news again, so that's always fun.
Yeah, I'm really glad.
Really quick, before we jump to the interview, it was really funny. Pedro Pascal, the SAG-AFTRA Awards were this weekend, and Pedro won for like best actor for Last of Us, and he was up against all these other people for Succession, that really good show. I haven't watched it yet, and he got up on stage and he was like, "Well, he's like, this is bad." He's like, "I got really drunk because I didn't think I was gonna win," and he's like, "I'm going to go backstage and have a panic attack now," but you got to watch his speech. It was pretty hilarious because he was like, "I did not expect to win. I got really drunk because I thought I could." It's really funny.
That dude, I like him because he seems like the guy that was always kind of the second or third on the cast.
Yeah, and
he was never the star.
Right.
And so he had kind of this like blue collar mentality to how he treated Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then one day just became this big thing.
Yeah.
And he's got to be in his 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's continued that. And what I like about that, and this is what I always say with like, if you're rich or you're famous or whatever, I don't want to hear you complain. Just have fun and make me believe that it's fun to be rich and famous.
Yeah, I want to believe
give me a bright light to look forward to that I'll never see.
Right.
And Pedro Pascal is 100% that guy.
He just seems like such a down to earth dude.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna jump into comic book news. So, this is exciting because earlier in the year, DC announced their big blockbuster event series this summer called Absolute Power. The series will be written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora. There we go. Look at that. Interesting. We got Waller. I believe that's the cyborg Batman, maybe. From the Mark Waid's the Batman Superman series. Throughout the dawn of DC, Amanda Waller's combination of pure ruthlessness and dangerous alliances has placed her on the precipice of fulfilling her pledge, the elimination of all metahuman abilities planet-wide. This summer, her plans take a major step forward with Absolute Power, DC's big summer blockbuster. We knew they were doing something with Amanda Waller, right?
Yeah, I mean they've been pumping up Amanda Waller for over a year now.
Yeah,
and I've really enjoyed her villain arc here.
Yep, and I love that cover with like the portrait burning in Wayne Manor. That's sick.
Yeah, and I firmly believe. So you said Cyborg Batman for this. I think that's the Batman from Chip Zdarsky's run.
Failsafe. That's
Failsafe.
Yeah, Failsafe. Yep, that was Zdarsky's run. Yep.
Yeah. So It's bringing in a lot of good stuff. We've got a team here, Mark Waid and Dan Mora, that's been on a tear recently.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, ripping and tearing, Chris.
Yeah, so there's no reason to believe this won't be good.
Yep.
I'm really, really excited for this. I love big event comics. It's one of the things about comics that I just enjoy so much, even when they're bad.
There's going to be some cool interactions, I have a feeling, in this series.
Yeah. And I'll just say, just to put a bow on what I just said, and DC's event comics recently have been really fucking good.
And so, Chris, it's almost like, I mean, we've had some gimmicky ones, like, oh, you had, the zombies, you had vampires. Now we're just getting some good, like, evil planning espionage. It's like Amanda Waller is a force to be reckoned with. That's the new event.
Yeah.
Like The Wall. That's what we're getting.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty pumped for that.
It's going to be good stuff.
Also really cool, we got more news about Elseworlds, because Chris and I are big fans of that. We actually know when all of them are going to be released. So Gotham by Gaslight, The Kryptonian Age, is coming out in June. So it almost like once summer hits, we're getting almost one a month. Dark Knights of Steel, All Winter for July. DC versus Vampires, World War V for September. Batman the Barbarian for October. Green Lantern Dark for November. Batman Nightfire for November. So yeah, starting in June, we're getting more awesome books.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to this initiative coming.
Oh yeah.
And
yep. I'll be reading all these.
I was gonna say, I don't think there's a book. Maybe the Green Lantern Dark. That one I might wait on, but the rest of them I'm all in on.
I'm reading them all. That's it.
Yeah,
it's happening. Yeah, I cannot wait.
So,
especially you get the little Elseworld symbol on the book again. That's always awesome.
Yeah, it's so funny to me because the entire time that DC versus Vampire and Dark Knight of Steel was coming out, I wasn't even calling them Black Label books. I'm like, nope, these are Elseworlds books.
These are Elseworld stories. Yeah.
Like, don't even tell me they're not. And they retconned me into being right. So,
yep. Like, well, we still have this thing. We might as well bring it back.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Somebody else did the math on this, and I should look it up. But Elseworlds coming back and all that. When is Vertigo coming back? Because and somebody was doing the math on, like, I think it's the 40th or 50th anniversary coming out in the next year or so. So to see these old labels and imprints coming, I like that DC's very much just this mishmash of different things,
right?
Not just the main continuity, which is one of the things that they're doing so much better than Marvel right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped for all these books. I cannot wait. Another announcement, a couple announcements. DC announced a new line of paperback trades coming later this year called DC Finest, and there's a nice little picture there. The line promises to be an affordable option for people to get classic stories throughout the years of DC continuity. It'll debut with 5 books that include Golden Age Superman, Silver Age Flash, they got some Catwoman there, Batman Year 1 and Year 2, Gail Simone's Wonder Woman, and the first solo Catwoman series from the 80s. That's really cool that they're doing affordable options. The hardcovers they did a while back were pretty expensive.
Yeah, so these books are $34.99, I believe, USD.
Yep.
But they're full color. So,
yeah, that's cool.
Because both DC and Marvel had done these big collections like this, but black and white, and they were super cheap.
Yep.
But that's one of the things. It's one of the great things and issues with American comics versus manga is that American comics are traditionally color, and it's almost essential to the storytelling.
Yep.
So to see this, some great story arcs going through. I mean, I've never read Gail Simone's. I haven't read almost any of these. I've read the Batman, obviously. That's Frank Miller stuff.
Yep.
But the rest of them, I've probably read most of that Superman stuff because that's like the original Superman arc.
Yeah. The Flash one's kind of exciting.
Yeah, but to see them, I just think of the future and what they can do with it, and to bring great arcs out. It's not that this is a new thing they've done. I'm reading a book right now from DC that was pretty much this. It's so-and-so's X character, and I'll talk about it more when I finish it. But to see them put a label on it and to really say like this is an initiative we're going to go forward with is awesome, because now your friend who may be somewhat interested in comics, you can be like, well, you really like the Wonder Woman movie? Well, here's one of the better Wonder Woman stories ever told. Gail Simone's Wonder Woman.
Yep.
And it's not really that expensive. I mean,
right.
$35 is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not super expensive for this much comics. I think it's 12 issues.
Yeah, that's a lot of comics there.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's exciting. I like when they go back and, celebrate what they've done before.
Yeah, and I like that. So traditionally, DC's been really bad with reprinting and just printing in general. And I like that they're kind of flipping the script this year with those smaller trades to try to compete with manga. We've got this, and I'm sure we're going to get more along the lines or along the year to really just show that they want to push forward with, no, we want to keep this stuff in print and make it accessible to people. And which is something they've traditionally been really bad with. So I like that they're kind of changing their tune on that.
Yeah. And then sorry, local comic shops, but DC announced that this July they're going back to releasing new comics on Wednesdays. So now that you've already adapted and overcome the changes, we're going back.
Listen, to any comic shops that are mad about this, let me just tell you right now, this is the way God intended it. I've said from day one.
I feel bad for the comic shops that had to adjust for the Tuesday release, and now they're.
I mean, I don't think that was that big of a deal, but if you are upset about this, listen, this is the way God intended. New Comic Book Day is Wednesday. I said from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, I don't know why DC would go and change that. That was just a terrible idea.
It was because media had generally released on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But fuck that. Like comics are Wednesday.
Comics have always been a Wednesday.
And I'm glad to see, not only for myself, it makes some of my life easier with the videos I do, but it also just is, this is the way it was intended. Everybody at the comic shop on Wednesday, whether you're reading DC or Marvel. And I think at the end of the day, that created a world where my friends who are DC only, which was you at one point in time when we first met, and we could cross talk about the books we were reading. Right. And get each other into other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's good for both companies, for all companies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Come on, DC.
Good on you, DC.
Yeah. Marvel announced, this is exciting, new Star Wars stuff. One shot titled Star Wars The Phantom Menace 25th Anniversary Special. The title will be written by Greg Pak, awesome, and art by Will Silney. It will tell the events of the movie from Anakin's perspective. You getting that, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell
yeah. So Greg Pak's been doing a great job with the Star Wars stuff. He's doing the Darth Vader book. And I think it's good to go back and celebrate what the prequels were, even if they're not perfect.
Right. Yeah. I think there's still a story to be told there.
Yeah. And I said, I think 1 and 3 have over time aged well. 2 is still garbage. I don't care what anyone says. But 1 in particular, is a fun little one when you look back at the history of George Lucas. It's him doing American Graffiti again. He's telling a story about racing cars. There's Jedi.
Yeah, right. That's true.
So I am excited for this. I like the characters involved. I mean, I'm still kind of not a big Jar Jar Binks guy, but everyone else involved in Anakin's story arc there's some cool things to mine. So yeah, I am definitely picking this up.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. All right. A few months back, we got a leak that the Ultimate line would be adding the Ultimates to it soon. And now Marvel has officially announced that the Ultimates by writer Denise Camp and artist Juan Frigeri will debut in June. We also learned that the team will be Iron Lad, Tony Stark, Captain America, Doctor Doom, Thor, Sifave, and they will band together to destroy Maker's Council and restore freedom to the world. There you go. There's that's a cool looking Thor. Yeah.
And there's others like Ant-Man / Giant Man and Wasp are in there too, but they weren't in the press release.
Yep. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Ultimate stuff. I thought it was a little quick to bring the Ultimates in, but I see I see how they've been hinting at, Iron Lad doing his thing. He's the one that helped Peter. He did a lot during Ultimate Invasion. Like there's seeds that are made here, and I hope that they keep the Ultimates the way it was originally, as like a 4 to 6 issue series, and they go away. Because if anyone remembers, like the Ultimates in the original Ultimate Universe was almost an event book. Like they popped up and then they disappeared for a while, and then you got Ultimates 2 and so on and so forth. So, but yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. More announcements. Sony Press announced that they're bringing back the classic publishing line EC Comics. The line will launch with 2 new series, Epitaphs from the Abyss and Cruel Universe, and will include creators like Jason Aaron, Rodney Barnes, Cullen Bunn, Stephanie Phillips, Brian Azzarello, Christopher Cantwell, and so many more. For those that don't know, EC Comics was a classic comic publisher in the early years of the industry, has popped up in and out throughout the years, mostly known for creating horror comics, notably being the original publishers of the Creepshow comic series. Yes. The Tales of Horror and stuff like that, they have collected trades of all that stuff. That is so cool that they're bringing it back. This is really exciting. I don't read any Oni's Press stuff, Chris, but I will probably be reading most of this stuff.
Yeah, I'll be interested in Cruel Universe because it's a sci-fi horror book. But what I like about this is we're seeing a renaissance, and I gotta credit Kickstarter and the small publishers for this. We're seeing a renaissance in specifically horror anthology, but anthology comics.
Yeah.
And this is proof that a company like Oni Press is like, we can do a regular anthology and big names will want to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm really down for this. And I think the lineup, I mean, the names you just named are all creators who are at least get a shot in my eyes.
Oh yeah, Jason Aaron, come on.
Yeah, Jason Aaron, Cantwell can be hit or miss, but I do love his work. Stephanie Phillips, and so on and so forth. Like,
Cullen Bunn, our boy Cullen.
Yeah, Cullen Bunn, which gotta get a hold of that man. But yeah, and it's cool to see classic lines brought back. Like EC is so synonymous with comics, and I'm just glad to see it out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me too. Boom Studios announced a new title from writer Philip Kennedy Johnson, the All-Star, and artist SOM, titled Crocodile Black. Here's the synopsis for everybody. Will make someone turn to crime, especially in a modern pandemic-riddled dystopia. During the height of 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, Danny, a seemingly mundane young man lost in escapism with a spiraling lack of control over his life, sees something during a delivery job that will change him forever, turning his life as dark as the black crocodile skin boots he can't take his eyes off of. Not my cup of tea. I don't know if this is something you would check out.
I love Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Yeah.
I am so sick of pandemic stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When I heard COVID-19 pandemic, I was like, man, any other dystopia would be fine. Did we really have to talk about that?
Even if you want to talk about it and then just like change it to be like, I don't know, some futuristic flu, like just
something else.
There's never, I mean, I don't want to say never, but I feel like there will never be a time where I'll be nostalgic for the COVID-19 pandemic.
No, this is like, you and me both. Yeah.
So I get that people have stories that came out of it, but I think you need to be more creative with it. That said, we do get review copies from Boom Studios. So I will probably check out a Philip Kennedy Johnson book.
We do get reviews. Yeah.
If I was to put my money down, no way. I'm
not getting my money.
Gonna be real with everybody. There's no way.
We'll get my attention.
And maybe I'm wrong, and we'll find out when I get that review copy. But
the whole crocodile boot thing, I don't really know what to make of that. It's kind of a weird thing to run with. But...
I also want to say, while this is a great cover, terrible synopsis.
Yeah, what's up? Like crocodile boots are not. It's what?
I get like it's the pandemic, and he turns to crime. What? Okay, what's Crocodile Skin Boots got to do with anything? I hope that he's a good enough writer that that'll be explained, but
right.
You need to do more for me in the synopsis, people.
Yeah, we need a little more than that.
Yeah.
Ahoy Comics announcement, new title from writer Garth Ennis. Everybody, all right, and artist Jason Burrows titled Babs, which I wish we could have talked about when we had the Ahoy guys on. The series introduced Babs, a skilled barbarian thief with an itchy metal wardrobe and the world's worst enchanted sword named Barry. Hey, I've been noticing a trend lately, Chris. Together, Babs and Barry travel the highways and byways of fabulous fantasy universe, a world of wizards and dragons, trolls and demons, towering palaces, piles of magic treasure, aiming to strike it rich. But Tiberius Toledo, and his band of white knights have different plans. While enacting their latest half-assed get-rich-slow scheme, Babs uncovers Toledo's foul plot to exploit the baser instincts of the local townsfolk, landing her headfirst into an epic battle. Babs wasn't looking for a fight. And then again, she's never found a bad situation she couldn't make 100 times worse. Okay. The premise has got me. It's fantasy. Garth Ennis running it and having some villains called the White Knights. I don't think it's a very, I don't think they're hiding anything with the lead there. I think there's going to be some undertones to this book.
Yeah, a female lead, the White Knights.
Yeah, it might not be as fun and enjoyable as I thought, Chris. It might be, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where Garth Ennis goes with it, but I'm definitely going to be checking it out.
I kind of feel that this is a barbaric-esque book.
Yeah.
Maybe not a talking sword. I mean, they said enchanted, but I don't expect it to be like talking to her.
Yeah.
But I do think it'll be that style of humor and and fantasy. That said, holy shit, Ahoy Comics got Garth Ennis to do a book?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on over there? Like, they are doing some cool stuff.
I know, they are. And I will say, the enchanted sword has a name, Barry. So that would imply maybe it could talk. I don't know.
I hope it doesn't talk. I mean,
yeah,
I don't hate it, but
getting Garth Ennis in on this is crazy.
Here's my only concern with what you just said with the White Knight situation.
Yeah.
Is Garth has done a really great job recently with like Marjorie Finnegan and a few other books with writing badass foul-mouthed female leads.
Right.
That I really enjoyed.
Yep.
And I really hope we don't go down a path of like beat me over the head with certain themes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I mean, we won't know until we read it, but just from the cover, it looks like she doesn't take herself too seriously. Like
it reminds me a lot of that cover reminds me a lot of Marjorie Finnegan in terms of like the feel and what we're doing here. The big difference is that it's fantasy and not sci-fi, and there's a giant dragon on the fucking cover.
Yeah, I'm in for giant dragons in fantasy. So
that all said, I'm so down for this. I love the logo. The cover's really cool, and just I'm excited for the Ahoy guys. They got a Garth Ennis book. Like that's
that's crazy. That is huge. And listeners may remember when Tom Parent and Stuart Moore teased on the show that Ahoy Comics would be getting their first licensed comic this year. Well, now we know what it'll be. Ahoy Comics announced that writer Matt Boers and artist Fred Harper will be making a 5-issue Toxic Avengers comic. Hell yeah, Ahoy. Hell yeah. This is if you would have asked me 1,000 times, I would have not have guessed Toxic Avenger. That's awesome.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
Like I when I got this email, I'm at work.
Yeah.
I got the email, I looked down, and it's from their publicist.
Yep.
Who does a few other things. So like it could have been somebody else. But the email just read, it's usually like approved for release or something like that. Toxic Avengers. And I immediately was just like, that's the book Tom was talking about.
It had to be. Yeah.
I didn't have to open it to know that it was a Hoy book. Because while I never would have guessed in a million years, he was correct. It is the perfect Ahoy book.
Oh, it is. It makes sense. Like now that I hear that, Chris, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for sure an Ahoy book.
Yeah, it's so cool that this is what they got. Like,
yeah.
And once again, I said it already, but it's such a good Ahoy book because not only is it very comic booky and fit in our world, but Toxic Avengers always had an undertone of humor.
Yep.
So for him to get this, for them to get this character and to do something with it, I'm really interested to see what they do. Yeah, it's kind of a weird cover. I'm not really fond of it, but
yeah, it makes me uncomfortable. Ugly Toxic Avenger, but
it's gonna be an interesting year for Ahoy, man. Like,
yeah,
I thought for a while there, as much as I was enjoying Ahoy's stuff, they were getting in this rut of doing the same thing. And the past couple announcements between these two and a few others have shown me that they have really doubled down on, like, we need new things. We need to really, like, reinvigorate the line while at the same time bring back Wrong Earth once again.
Hell yeah. Keep bringing me more Wrong Earth stuff. So this cool stuff. I'll be reading this for sure.
Yeah, my interest in Ahoy is reinvigorated right now.
Oh yeah. Love those guys. Distillery Comics announced a new series coming from writer-artist Jamie McKelvey titled One for Sorrow. I do like the art for this one. London 1900, the capital hums with the energy of a new era, but somewhere darker lurks beneath the surface. A monstrous figure stalks the city's criminal underworld at night, leaving a trail of bloody corpses. The only clue is a baffled police force that work with is the black and white feather left on each corpse, leading the press to dub the killer the Magpie. Is the Magpie killing at random? Is there a pattern? 3 individuals, strangers to each other, might together have the answer. Not something I would be interested in, but I do like the art. Very cool.
It's got enough to intrigue me.
Yeah.
But I want to know more. And I think once again, if I had to put my money down, I don't know if I would. But we're lucky enough to get review copies, so I will probably check it out.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting enough. I always like the look of that Plague Doctor mask. Like, there's something intriguing about that.
I do think that's cool, yeah.
And to have kind of it almost has like a Jack the Ripper feel with like a detective book. So there's things in there that intrigue me. So I'll be there to check it out when it comes out.
Cool. All right. IDW is rolling with the TMNT stuff. Hot off the heels announcing the new comic. We got 5. So if you wanted a TMNT comic, now we're getting 5 more, everybody. So buckle up.
Yeah, buckle in.
I don't know where they got this idea for TMNT black, white, and green. Don't know where that came from, folks. An anthology series included stories from creators like Declan Shalvey, Javier Rodriguez, Jock, and more. Yeah, this will be the fun anthology of all the TMNT characters. A lot of cool covers there. Yeah,
I mean, Marvel's been doing black, white, and red, or black, white, and blood, or whatever.
Yeah.
DC did the black white, and blue.
Yeah.
For Superman, they did black and white for Batman.
Yeah.
I've seen a few others. I mean, it's become a trend, but I do like it. Like, it's kind of cool. It's a black and white comic, but at the same time, like, we had a splash of color in there.
Yep.
And it gives all these creators a chance to jump into the TMNT world without having to do an ongoing series.
Yeah, just have fun with it.
Yeah, so while I know it's the 25th anniversary of IDW, they've got this big change for Turtles. They want to do all this cool stuff. I like this idea, and I like one of the other ideas. I think they're kind of blowing their load with Turtles right now.
Yeah, so the next one, TMNT Usagi Yojimbo, start Saturday Morning Adventures from writer Eric Burnham, artist Jack Lawrence. A series of crossover the 2 IPs once again, but in the style of the TMNT cartoon from 1987. Not anything I'm interested in. I do like the character Usagi, but it's not someone I've really read a lot.
When they first did this crossover, it made sense.
Yeah.
Like, do the classic Turtles with Usagi.
Yeah.
They're 2 kind of similar IPs.
Yeah.
And I like IDW's Saturday Morning Adventures line. Even though I'm not reading any of them, but like, I like the idea of it.
Yep.
and I'm glad it's just a one shot, but still, it's just they should have waited on this announcement and maybe done it like later in the year or something.
Later in the year would be cool, yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of people will be excited for it either way.
Next couple, we have TMNT Night Watcher from writer Juni Ba and artist Pharaoh Pei. The series will spin out of the main TMNT title and focus on the character Night Watcher. All right. Interesting.
So I'm not enough of a Turtles fan to know who Night Watcher is.
No, me
that's really all I got there.
It's coming out of the new series, I guess.
It'll all depend. And once again, I hate to keep prefacing this, but like we get review copies of these books.
Yeah, right.
If I had to put my money down, well, first, if I had to put my money down, I probably won't be reading Turtles.
Right.
But if I had to put my mind on this in particular, I would say if I was reading Turtles, I would have to read Turtles before I even thought about putting my money down on this.
Mm-hmm.
But Turtles fans out there are probably screaming like Night Watcher rules. I don't know, but I have no idea who this character is.
Yeah.
So,
and then the last one, TMNT Mutant Nation writer Tom Waltz, artist Sophie Campbell. Ongoing series will live alongside Jason Aaron's main series and feature other mutant characters from the world of TMNT. See, that one makes sense to release with the main book. These other ones, like you said, I think is really just jumping the gun here. Just releasing like way too much at once.
Yeah, and Tom Waltz is kind of a guy that's been working with Kevin Eastman a lot, so it makes sense. Like he's the co-writer, I believe he's the co-writer of Last Ronin.
Yep.
And he did that I think it was called Drawing Blood book that Eastman did.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that he's doing Turtle stuff. Like he's been in that world. He's friends with Eastman. So that said, I think this is a cool idea to spotlight other characters and to kind of live alongside that book while not necessarily being a part of its continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll just say no Mondo Gecko, I riot because Mondo Gecko is my spirit animal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Bebop Rocksteady, but I get it. Yeah, and I think that's it for the news. Now we'll talk about what we read this week, Chris.
Yes.
I
read comics.
I read comics as well. To catch up really quick, I still got to read Wesley Dodds, and Sinister Sons is on my list now because of what you suggested. I did catch up on Batman City Madness #3. I thought it was a great ending. Arkham making a deal with like the Eldritch horrors to save his son's mind, like initiating everything was a really cool premise. I thought that was awesome. Where he's like, just get over it. It's been a year. Like, okay. Oh, you're not going to get over it? Okay, let me go make a deal with these evil creatures from beyond our universe to fix you. Like, what the fuck? All right. Dad of the year, I guess.
Dad's got to do what Dad's got to do, man.
Yeah, he's got to do what he's got to do. So I read Batman 143 and 144 is Zdarsky and Kamenkoli. Yeah, more Joker stuff. Yeah, I mean, we see Batman fighting he doesn't really fight the Bat family Jokers. He like smoke bombs them and runs away. We see Joker like returning. This is like, the initiation of Joker, like the start of the Joker origin kind of. We see the Joker come back to the bar that he gets like beat the shit out of, and he's fully the Joker now. And we see him like, that's like, I think coming full circle of like, yeah, now I'm crazy. They do talk about how the guy who's training him is like, oh my God, he's the best at manipulating his mind. He really does see 3 different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
If they're like making him do this 3 Jokers thing just to wrap it all up, I think this way makes the most sense. There's 3 divisions of his mind or something.
I think I said last week, and I would stand by it, that I like that part of the last issue.
Yeah,
because it does kind of bring sense to the idea that we've seen different iterations of Joker.
Yeah, and I like the way they explained it for sure. Yeah,
and it also wraps it into the Batman mythos at the same time. So I like that person.
Yeah, like when Joker pops up and he's different, it's like, oh, that could be the same Joker. He's just like in a different section of his mind.
Yes.
and then we see Batman finds the antidote that to like healing the people that have the Joker's gas or whatever, which we don't really know what's going on there, but I think that's all I had in my notes for that. So I don't really know if anything's resolved, but
I think so, because this is the last issue of it. You also, in the past, there was the whole thing where like the police force were a part of the Redwood gang.
Yeah, they were all part. They were corrupt. Yes. Yep.
And it did all kind of wind around that the commissioner at the time got arrested for it, was put in jail, but Joker promised to get back at him. So in the future, when he does the Joker gas thing, that was patient zero, because when he got out of jail, he experimented on him, created the Joker gas.
Did all that crazy shit.
I think, me personally, I liked the past stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The future stuff I could have done without.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it was just Joker Year One.
Right.
And just focused on the past. And you could have still made that connection another way without doing the whole future stuff.
Yeah,
so,
it didn't have to. And it's weird because, like, including the future stuff, that probably, I mean, it had enough, you could say it had enough material to make it a weekly book, but they probably could have done this in, like, 2 monthly issues or something, you know, or like.
It could have been 2 issues, or you could have just spread out what was, like, gone more in depth on the past.
Right.
And really built up that and done 3 or 4 issues. Like, I just thought the future stuff was unnecessary.
Yeah.
That said, I think overall, I liked this mini event thing, but I did not love it.
Yeah, I didn't need it. You know, it's not like it didn't change me as a Batman fan.
At the end of the day, I'm happy that the next issue goes back to the regular story arc.
Scheduled Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy this is a weekly thing, because now it's done.
Now it's done, over with. Yeah, we can move on.
It's not 3 months of me like focusing on this Joker thing.
Yeah. Batman Superman World's Finest number 24. This is really, we're getting the origin of Magog. Is what it gets shoehorned in at the end there. But there's this whole thing where like he kills Gog as like Darkseid's going to steal the anti-life equation from him or whatever. And he's like, save the day. And like Darkseid's like, all right, well, I have no reason to be here. I'm just going to leave. So that was a pretty fun interaction. The Darkseid reveal where he's just like laying waste to the heroes was awesome. I mean, that's the Darkseid you want to see. Like he's just not even, he doesn't even care. I think it was a cooler intro for him. And they kind of leave off where they're like, okay, well, they leave Kingdom Come in a place that we will eventually see in the future story, right? So they get that they see the whole timeline and everything of like, oh shit, you know, we failed this universe, blah blah blah. I thought it was a good way to wrap it up, Chris. The only thing is, I turned to the last page, and you can imagine my surprise when I was very upset that the next issue is going to be a team up story with Joker and Luthor. Man, I feel like, dude, is Joker just popping up in every book now? I can't escape.
So real quick, I'll say this issue, I had thought the whole time this was a prequel.
Yeah.
I had heard some theories that it wasn't, and I was kind of confused on where it was in the story arc or timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's all done, the story arc was really good, being a prequel to Kingdom Come and everything. So I really enjoyed it. I'm not as like Jokered out as you.
Yeah.
I think I'm like just 3/4 of the way that you are.
Yeah.
My big disappointment here is that we read the annual, and I know that Batmite and Mxyzptlk are coming.
Yeah.
So I don't want anything else. I want Batmite and Mxyzptlk.
I want that. Unless it's like Luthor and Joker imps, that would be great. If it's not,
I think so. It's Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and they haven't done wrong yet. So I have faith in what they're doing. This will definitely lead into that story. Like they're going to be the reason that those characters come to this earth.
Right.
But yeah, it's a disappointment. Like you can't tease Batmite and Mixoplex
and then not give it,
and then be like, oh yeah, guess what? Luthor and Joker are coming.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I got Luthor and Superman. I got Joker and Batman.
Right.
And we're kind of wrapping up those stories right now. Don't jump me into a new one. I
know. That's the way
I want Batmite so bad.
Yeah, give me Batmite. Superman number 11. Just a heads up. I think I read the word kryptonite 1,000 times in that issue.
You did.
Because I think almost every, I thought I was losing my mind because I think almost every word bubble said kryptonite, 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 kryptonite. And I was like, I think they want us to talk about kryptonite. There's the big fight with the villains in Superman. They release this, they talk about how the different kryptonites affect Superman, which I do think is an interesting thing. It's almost treated as like a spectrum, like with the Green Lantern stuff of like how the power applies and what it does to Superman makes him pissed. The cool part is they feed him red kryptonite. They're like, yeah, now you're pissed off. And he's like, well, Luthor's like, yeah, but he's also pissed at you guys. Like, you didn't think that through. He's pissed at the guys that have been poisoning him.
I love that moment.
Yeah. The big reveal that like Luthor's mom shows up and is like, yeah, you kept me on a fucking island to raise your daughter. Of course I'm going to be pissed and exact this plan of revenge. So that was pretty interesting. It feels like a Superman book to its core,
Yeah.
And then the reveal that like they shoot all this man-made kryptonite gas that can kill humans in the city that was developed by Lex Luthor. He's like, oh shit, yeah, I did make that back in the day. I thought overall it was a good issue. It's just a lot of kryptonite happening.
I like that the last issue ended in a way where like, you're going to join the Revenge Lex Luthor squad. And I'm like, he's not though. Like,
no, he's not. No, he's not.
And I was thinking at the time, like, I don't like this, like, join our evil gang skit. Like, okay, it never works. Why are we doing this? And this is my sin of not having faith in Joshua Williamson because I like the way he did it. Like, at the end of the speech, she goes, oh, I didn't think you would just join.
Right.
Red kryptonite, go kill him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then the twist where like Luthor's like, oh, you think he's just mad at me, blah, blah, blah. I love the twists and turns in this, how he like flipped the script on the classic idea of like join our evil team, we'll rule the world together kind of thing. And the cliffhanger of Luthor confessing his past sins to Superman, being like, no, they're right. This was my creation. I did this in the past and now I have to atone for it, was really awesome. So yeah, I love this issue. This book's so good.
So good. No, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Green Lantern War Journal 5 and 6. Have you been reading that?
I just read 5. I have 6 sitting by my bed, so it'll probably be read tonight.
So this seems like they kind of wrap up the first volume of this story. There's a crazy fight between the main villain and they think the Dark Stars are behind the Radiant Death and all this stuff happening. The Dark Stars are like a faction, that are like evil. And basically like we get the reveal that Olgrun is the villain. I don't really know Olgrun from the Green Lantern history, but it seems like a big bad. The villain grabs John Stewart as he's trying to get away and pulls him into like another universe or something like that. And then we see like this Dark Star symbol in the sky. So like they're trying to take over. So John Stewart's like missing. That was a cool ending because it's like Empire Strikes Back sort of ending. There's a lot of interactions, a lot of sad moments with his mom, interacting with his mom again with the, like the dementia and things like that. Mm-hmm. And he has a nice moment. He has a crazy moment where he like, Deus Ex Machina, like comic book science, just like reassembles and heals the guy that he's been fighting with. I can't remember his name right now, but the guy from the other universe, so he can just heal people now with his powers. John Stewart can. But no, I think this story's been really interesting. I think it's keeping like the galactic sci-fi, like some of the complicated lore that Grant Morrison does a good job with, but also it's a John Stewart book. I think it's balancing all that out.
Yeah, I think what I've read of the series so far, I've just really loved. And that last issue, when he has to like reconstruct his little sister who I think passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for his mother that has dementia, like those moments are heart killers, man.
Oh
like,
yeah,
they
for sure. Yeah.
They break you down. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading 6, but I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Then I had JL versus Godzilla versus Kong number 5. There it is. I thought it was a great issue. Got some cool moments. Luthor has the Mecha Godzilla suit. Godzilla's locked up at the bottom of the ocean after fighting the Kraken, which was crazy. They thwart him, get him locked up. And then we have Ra's al Ghul, who grabs a Titan and drops him in a Lazarus pit. Like, that moment was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's that Titan skull that he has. He's like, just drop it in a Lazarus pit.
Yeah, find the biggest Lazarus pit you can and let's dump it in there.
I can't wait to find out what that's about. But
yeah, I'm so excited to see where that's going.
Yeah, it looks great, and I like how they're connecting the dots. Like Ra's al Ghul with that skull, Luthor with Mecha Godzilla makes sense. Aquaman trapping Godzilla with the chain underwater, like
yeah, that was badass.
Yeah, this book's been awesome.
The last book I had this week was Godzilla Rivals Mothra versus Belgara. I think it was a fun issue with Mecha Godzilla, a big fight between like Jet Jaguar, Belgara, and Godzilla. You know, these are one shots. The characters are usually like army style characters or like people that were affected by Godzilla, and just big fight scenes, lots of art of all those characters fighting. So I just love that shit. I think IDW is doing some fun stuff with Godzilla.
Very cool.
And that's all I had this week.
All right, some books from last week. So I read Action Comics 1062, which you talked about last week.
Yep.
Really liked it. And I laughed hysterically when Joker showed up because of your reaction on last week's episode.
Uh-huh.
But a good show, or a good comic. We're getting a little bit political here, Mike, with Biden's Titans versus AOC number 1.
Oh shit.
I love the series. It really pokes fun at everybody in it, and has since it was originally Trump's Titans back in the day. But yeah, dude, Elon Musk uses Neuralink to control AOC, make her his wife. The Biden's Titans have to come in, and then
it's amazing.
Bernie Sanders comes from the future, but he's young because in 2030 the singularity happens and people live forever, and he reverse ages.
Wait,
so they go back in the past to get young AOC to come to the present to save the present AOC. It's fucking crazy comic shit.
That's amazing.
With like political humor thrown in. And then when it's all said and done, because we've unlocked time travel in this now, they tease that the next issue is Biden's Titans is going to go back in time to fight Trump's Titans. So,
oh hell yeah, let's go,
dude. I'll say, no matter where you are in the political spectrum, this is a fun book. It pokes fun at everybody. If you don't have humor about yourself, you're probably not going to like it. But yeah, I think it's a blast.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah. And then throughout it, like they're poking fun at everything. Like they're poking fun at Biden for like his little slip ups. They're poking fun at Greta Thunberg for like her shit. Nobody's safe. Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, number 5. Really enjoyed the issue. It's Wesley dealing with the quote unquote murder from last issue where somebody died, and having to deal with like government agents and everything. And all the while, like we find out that this general for the government was behind everything. And it's Wesley's journey to basically get him to confess throughout it. So it's a really great issue. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Blade number 8 was last week. And it's Blade Goes to Hell. So Blade has to transport himself to hell. He finds the guy he fought earlier in the series. he brings him back in order to fight this demon that's taken over. And I mean, that's basically it, but it's just so much fun along the way. Blade's been a great book. Everybody should be reading it. Thunderbolts #3, which is the Hive Mind book for the Thunderbolts. Mike, are you familiar with the American Kaiju?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Bucky and crew go to Asia, meet up with Shang-Chi, whatever we're calling him now, and are going to try to recruit both U.S. Agent and the American Kaiju as part of their team.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, they recruit them both. But as you can imagine, Mike, along the way, things don't go right. Somebody ticks off the American Kaiju. He becomes the giant Kaiju.
Nice.
And starts destroying everything. So Winter Soldier finds Pym particles or some shit and becomes giant and has to fight this giant Kaiju.
That's amazing.
So that's basically the issue.
I love it.
It's a blast, man.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I love the idea of the American Kaiju.
Yeah, I think that's a great character.
And the idea that he's coming back for future issues is just
that's really cool.
Fun. Beware the Planet of the Apes #2.
Nice.
One of the things I really love about this book, since I just read the Adventures of the Planet of the Apes book, is they literally take panels from that book and use them as part of the story, because they're taking from, not only is it a prequel to Planet of the Apes, but they're taking elements from the second movie as well, Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
That's cool.
And using it. So we get this new human civilization that's in the Forbidden Zone. They're not quite mutated, but they are mutated at the same time. And I'll be interested to see how they wrap it up, because the characters in this on the ape side are in the original movies. And they don't have familiarity with humans in those movies. So I think there's going to be a mind wipe happening somewhere along the way. But put that aside, these humans find them and bring them in, try to show them like not all humans are bad, blah, blah. They're not like the humans from the second movie. But there's also this civilization of gorillas that live kind of next door. And they're known as being like very basically racist. Like they're gorillas and they hate chimpanzees. So the little chimpanzee they're trying to find has been taken by these gorillas, and now they have to go to that civilization and find them. I said this was the first issue, but there's some continuity errors along the way. But if you kind of throw that to the side and just read the book as is, I think it's a good book so far. 2 issues in. And then we'll get to this week's stuff. So I read the Deviant #4, and really good issue. Ends with a huge cliffhanger in which they hint that the lead character we've been following the whole time isn't just writing a comic book about this serial killer, but may be the copycat that's been going around in the present. So I gotta say, with this issue, I thought that Tinian in previous issues was kind of beating you over the head with certain things, but this issue showed me why he's so great at horror comics. So I think more people should be paying attention to Deviant. And then Cobra Commander #2 was just another book I really liked. It's Cobra's rise to being the big villain. Like, nice. And I don't really know what else to say about it other than he's like going across America and like killing people along the way.
Nice.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy Annual #1, Lanzing and Kelly. This is the finale to Grootfall. So if you're reading Guardians, this is an essential book. We get the wrap up. They bring all the Guardians from the last volume back, and we kind of see what Grootfall was all about. And I'll say at the end of the day, I thought this run was okay, but I did like the conclusion a lot. Like, it really did bring everything together and give these great moments throughout. And we get a pretty big death in this as well that I don't see anybody talking about. So
interesting.
The sad part is that, as I read in the back page, the hive mind, or done with Guardians after this.
Okay.
This was their last issue, so be interested to see what's next for the Guardians. But I thought this run was good, okay to good. But this issue in particular, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it started to lose me towards the end there.
Yeah, well, sure. And I remember the last issue you really talked about was when they got Drax's soul back for his human.
Yeah, that was where I was like, okay, now it's getting crazy.
That's a huge part of this issue, man.
Oh, okay.
And I loved it. So
okay, cool.
But that is like deep Marvel shit, so I understand why people weren't too fond of it.
Yep.
I Hate Fairyland number 11. A lot of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift jokes in this.
That's funny. All right.
That's funny. It's even to the point where Claudia's back on actual Earth and she dies like 4 times while she's there. The final time is she gets sucked into the engine of Travis. They don't call him that, but that's who it is. They get sucked into the engine of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's jet. And the whole thing leads up to this fart joke where Taylor Swift farts in Travis Kelce's face. And amazing. It's hilarious because fart jokes are great.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But B, Claudia's not dead. I like that Scotty Young is really poking fun at himself in this because he's doing like very childish jokes and even says at the end, like, and only a hack would reveal that she's alive at the end, just to reveal that she's alive at the end. Yeah, it's a fun book. Real quick, Daredevil Black Armor number 4, because I haven't talked about the series. This is the last issue. If you're a Daredevil fan, I think it's a really cool, fun book. Digs back into Matt Murdock's past and all this. It's just a lot of fun. And then Ultimate Spider-Man number 2, where we see Peter out as Spider-Man, but he's got this weird black suit. And it's not black suit Spider-Man. It's literally just a black suit that he's running around in. He has to reveal his identity to his kid. In this issue, he fights his first supervillain, who ends up being the Shocker. And then we see more of J. Jonah Jameson and Ben Parker and what they're doing with everything. So
nice.
Ultimate Spider-Man 2 is really good.
Yeah, I like the first issue.
Yeah. So, Mike, after that hefty pile I read this week, that is everything I read. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and/or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter or any other social media network you can think of. And you can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, also at fortresscomicnews.com. Remember, if you want to support the show, like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube version, 5-star reviews on the podcast version, and patreon.com/fortresscomics. And if you want to support me, it's chriscomicscorner.substack.com. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week, and we will see you all here next week.